Alright, so there's been a couple changes to the bike since last checkup. I got a BTRpower 84 volt 35 amp hour battery. I got the front headlight assembly that matches the front forks from the Apollo. I changed that to a hard twist throttle, and I got the headlight and the horn and the directionals now. I got the black seat off the Apollo, but it doesn't mount the same way. It would look a lot better, and this teal will come off. As you can see, I accidentally put my brake fluid reservoir there, and it just melted all the paint right off. So I'll be able to strip that easily and paint it. I keep coming up with a 3.2 error code on my Kelly, which, I mean, says it's no big deal. It's either over volt or over temp, or says it'll happen under normal conditions, but it happens every time I ride. I don't know if it's because of the gears and how I have to shift and how it kind of slams a little bit. In a perfect world, you want to keep the throttle held a little bit while shifting, almost like a third, and it shifts a lot smoother. I was having an issue where the front forks, well, the front hub was locking up. The disc brakes, they were locking up on the caliper. So I was like having a reduced range and tons of problems with my batteries cutting out. And it, long story short, I just had to re-bleed my brake system, and now it's working way better. I had the thing sitting out in the rain for a couple of months, not being used. And I mean, this Apollo front end sat for like over a year when I abandoned that project, so I just assumed that they would be all set, and they apparently were not. Figures there has to be like 500 cars drive by while I try to do this. I guess I parked in a really bad spot. But this new battery is supposed to be pretty nice. 35 amp hour. It's got a 100 amp peak discharge and 50 amp continuous discharge. I picked it up fairly cheap. It was like 600 bucks, and I mean, that's a lot of money, but when you look at the watt hours that the thing's supposed to put out, it's a really good deal. I don't have any sort of watt meter on here to get any idea what I'm getting for range, but I'll be able to just estimate it off of the old packs, which were 20 cell 6P, really small batteries. The motor still gets pretty warm with this Kelly controller. I mean, it's definitely the downside of this entire drive. It's located in a really bad spot, so the shifter sucks. And right now you can see my shifter is hitting my battery pack because I got my my old tractor shifter. At least I can slap the gears down. So I slap the gears down at every stoplight with my foot, and then I only have to toggle it forward to shift up. But the motor's already pretty warm, and I've been, but I did have to bleed the front brakes and fix that, so that was half the issue right there with the motor overheating. So we'll have to get a good ride in, put the battery pack to use, see if this motor is gonna ruin itself. I don't have a temperature sensor in it, and there's not even a wire for a temperature sensor on the drive. So I mean, that would have to be something I would look into later, but if I was to ever rip the motor off of this drive, I would try to adapt a much better motor, like the new LR HDD or the XL or something, because it's almost the same exact size, if not a little smaller, and it'll put out way more power and spin at a faster RPM. That would make this drive pretty insane. Then at that rate, you would need some better shifting mechanism, or even a clutch, a whole new drive basically. This drive's not bad. I do like being able to shift gears, but without a clutch, I don't see it's at its full potential. I do have plans in the works to use an XR80 bottom end transmission and get some sort of mid-drive motor driving it, running it through a clutch with oil in the bottom end case. Try to get a perfect world solution with a clutch. I know a lot of these new trials bikes coming out have them already built in, so they're basically doing what I'm doing, way more sophisticated. Man, is it a busy commuter day out here today. I picked a bad day to talk. I also have a helmet on, so you probably can't hear anything I'm saying. I'm not even really thinking this through. Use error code, man. All I can do is just clear it. I'll shut my key off, turn the key back on, and it'll clear it. So I really don't know why it's doing that. I mean, I do program my settings, so it can't be my low volt, because my low volt is set at like 60 volts or something, and this pack's at like 80, so I really am not sure why. Just wanted to give another update. It's still a ton of fun to ride around, and when you're cruising around on flat ground or slight downhill in fourth gear, this thing hauls ass. I bet it goes almost 40 miles an hour. Now we just got to get a ride into it now that the front brakes are fixed, and see if the motor starts becoming the issue once it gets to a really hot temp and starts losing some magnetic force and the efficiency goes to shit. So let's see what happens. Try to get a ride in. Well, I think today was a complete success. We fixed a lot of issues. Got the new battery in, performing well. Front brakes are not locking up anymore. And I got really sick of the farm shifter, and I finally got the welder out and made a contraption. So I got the downshift still there, and I basically cut down 2 other shifters and welded it together exactly where I needed it to be able to upshift without the farm shifter. It's way better. I mean, it is a little bit off, but I got size 12 shoes and I can hit that thing pretty darn easy. It's a lot easier than having to throw the handle, and the handle was hitting my my new battery, so I didn't like that. So all in all, things are going good. I haven't got the error code yet since I've been riding around on the street. This thing hauls ass now. Once you get it in fourth gear, I want to get the GPS on it because it just flies much better. I think that front brake thing was really holding me up, and having a really bad low C-rated battery that could only put out like 30 amps was just not enough for this thing. So now I got 50 amp continuous, 100 amp peak, and one of my directionals isn't working. I think it might be the LED board just is gone, but everything else works. Put the headlights on, the horn works. I had to zip tie this thing down a little better because I was going off-roading in the trails. Now the thing doesn't go anywhere. Get all my cables nice and neat. But I'm gonna throw the GPS on it real quick and get a rip down the street at full speed, because I have a feeling the thing's up there. It's got to be going at least 40, so I'm pretty happy with the results. I started putting some brake fluid on the rear fender, so you can see the paint's just going to start flaking off. Look at that. So I'm going to take all that paint off and paint it black to match the rest of everything else. We'll worry about the seat later. The seat has a rip in it anyway, so right now I just have some tape over it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the seat, but right now it's the last of my issues. Bike's looking pretty good though. It's performing great. I'll let update you with anything new.